Music on hold. Come on in the room. Come on in the room on this Sunday afternoon with me. I don't know where you are in the world, but I hope you and your family are safe. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds of people to start coming in for my my live on how to recession-proof and disaster-proof your life and your business. That's what today is about. Hi, everybody. I am streaming live. Yes, this is actual live. It's not one of my pre-recorded trainings. So wherever you are in the world, I hope you and your family are doing exceedingly well. And today we're talking about how to recession-proof and disaster-proof and all these other proofs your life, your income, your business. So I'm going to jump right into it. All right. You can watch it in replay if I leave. But I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it because I'm not going to be here all day. So first thing I want to say, I know there are some folks out there who are hurting, some folks out there who are wondering where their next meal, their next paycheck, their next, career, their next job is going to come from, how it's going to happen. I know that there are actually people out there who are struggling. So my thoughts and prayers are with all of us in the midst of this pandemic, but also the folks who are in a little bit difficult situation financially and economically and with their jobs. We are all thinking about you and praying for the absolute best for you. Today will be special for everybody because regardless of where you are, there's going to be something in here for you to think about in terms of what we're doing today, what you're prepared and positioned to do based on what's happening today and where you go from now. So I am Fran Harris. For those of you who have never met me, I'm just going to invite you to kind of check out franharris.com. I won't do a whole intro bio, but I started in Dallas, Texas, which is where I'm from. Shout out Dallas, and earned a scholarship to play basketball at the University of Texas and got the opportunity to play on national championship teams as an NCAA player and also in the WNBA. Took my careers after my first graduate school experience to Procter & Gamble, which I had a magnificent career at P&G as a sales executive there, and then started my own consulting company, teaching companies how to grow their businesses, small businesses, and then teaching Fortune 100 companies how to grow their businesses through innovative marketing, and then ultimately online marketing strategies as well. So what some folks might call a business optimization expert. What I do know how to do more than anything is to take a look at a business and to figure out real quickly what's wrong with it and prescribe what's needed to get that business back on track. So today is about getting you to that next level. If you're not doing well, how to help you become better. And if you are doing well and doing great in your business, how to help you become even greater. All right. So today is about recession proofing and disaster proofing your income, your life, and your business. So it started in 1998. Everything really changed for me in 1998. I'd already left Procter & Gamble, started my own company, by the way, the same company that's been in existence for over 20 something years. But in 1998, I was retiring from the WNBA and figuring out what I wanted to do in the next chapter of my life. And I knew that I was going to go into television because I'd already got an offer from Lifetime Television, which was one of our WNBA broadcast partners at that time. I'd already gotten an offer for them as I was retiring from the WNBA to go into television and to cover the WNBA for Lifetime. So I knew part of what I was going to be doing. But obviously that was just going to be for the summer league. And so what was I going to do after that? I was going to call games for ESPN in the long regular women's basketball and men's basketball season. But really, what was I going to do with my life besides my consulting business? And so I decided when I retired in 1998 from the WNBA that I wanted to, kind of explore some other options, some other technically non-sports playing options. And I decided to do a fantasy camp. If you go to waybackmachine.org, you can see my very first website ever. It was my first franharris.com, and you can see it there, waybackmachine.org. I think they may have changed to archive.org, but nevertheless, you can see my first website. And that was the first time I really realized what I'm about to talk to you about today is that not only had I played basketball, but that I had other skills and other, competencies that I could use to earn an income. So I started my first fantasy camp. I did a fantasy camp the year after I graduated, the year after I retired from the WNBA. And that first camp we did in New York, it was amazing. And we brought in over $25,000. And it hit me. There was something else beyond basketball, beyond playing basketball. Not that I didn't know that there were things I could already do, but I had never really thought about monetizing my knowledge, my experiences, my expertise, I never really thought about it in that way until I started that fantasy camp. Now, if we go back to when I was in college, I guess I did have an inkling. I guess the seed was planted when I was 19 years old at UT, and a group of CEOs asked me to come and talk to them about how to build championship teams. So I go do this brown bag lunch, and most of you have heard about those. You go do a quick little talk with folks, and then you do like a Q&A. So I was 19 years old. I was a junior actually, sophomore, getting ready to be a junior at Texas. And they asked me to come in and talk about what does it take to build a championship team. So I did a little 20, 30-minute talk. And after it was over, I said, listen, I know you can't pay me because at the time, NCAA rules, didn't allow us to be paid. But I said, I know you can't pay me, but if you could have paid me for what I did today, how much would you have paid? Just approximately, what would you have paid me? And this CEO said about $10,000 or $15,000. And it hit me. Something was like, wait a minute. So there were things that I learned as an athlete. There are things that I learned at Procter & Gamble. Ultimately, I realized that there were things that I was learning at Procter & Gamble that people would actually pay me for. So the seed was planted at 19. And then I realized that the seed had been planted even earlier when at 16, when I was a sophomore, junior in high school, that I'd been asked to come and speak at a Fellowship of Christian Athlete banquet. And I realized that they paid me for that. They paid me $500 to just come and talk about my experiences as an athlete, as a Christian athlete. So now I'm getting these little breadcrumbs that's leading up to what I'm talking to you about today. And that is the ability to truly monetize what you know, your expertise, your experiences, your history, your mess, anything that has become a part of who you are, your trade, your skills. There is an opportunity for you to have greater impact and greater income by sharing that knowledge and that expertise in the marketplace. So I learned that at 16 when they asked me to come and speak. I learned that again at 19 when they brought me in to speak to this CEO group, but I couldn't get paid. Then I learned that again when I retired from the WNBA and created my first fantasy camp where people showed up, to learn what I knew. They were learning what I knew, or they were listening to my experience. So what I want to say to you as we jump into this conversation today is that you've got something, you've got a gift, you've got a talent, you've got a skill, you've got knowledge, you've got know-how, you've got expertise, you've got experiences that people can learn from, that people can grow from, that people can develop from. But you've got to be willing to put yourself out there to share that expertise. All right. So let's jump in. I told you I wasn't going to be here all day. I'm going to need these to actually see what I'm talking about. So let's talk about what's needed to start sharing your expertise. Well, the first thing you need is you've got to be able to identify a problem. Now, the first thing I'll say, pause, because some of you are wondering if now is the time for us to be having this conversation. Let me take my glasses off so I can look at you, see eyeball to eyeball, and let you know that now is absolutely the time for us to be having this conversation. So as you heard in the past, some of our greatest inventions, I've even said many times, I try to say it at least once a month on my social media, like innovations, ingenuity, inventions. A lot of that happens during times when people believe that it's crisis, right? Millionaires, billionaires will be made during crises, not because they're exploiting people, but because you have an opportunity to think and to see the opportunities that are available. So right now, while people are incubated and quarantined, there's an opportunity for you to take a look around at all the problems that exist in the world, either in your industry or other industries, right? I was joking with someone the other day. Most of you know that I'm launching a beverage company. We were planning to launch at the Final Four, and then coronavirus happened. But anyway, I was joking with someone the other day because I was saying they were like, well, what are you going to do with your beverage company? I was like, we're still going to launch it, but now we're going to put this in it. So I was joking, but as we started talking, I could hear the wheels of innovation turning and hearing that this is exactly how entrepreneurs are born and billionaires are made and opportunities and us helping people at such a high level. I can understand why it happens during crisis. So for some of you, there are two camps right now. Some people who have kind of retreated and they're scared for, I'm sure, very good reasons. And then there are people who are really, the lights are coming on and they're figuring out, man, this is the time I can get better, get stronger, prepare for winter. That's how I like to describe what's happening right now. I haven't left the building. I mean, I haven't left home. All I'm doing is eating and working out. And what I'm doing right now, I'm doing a lot of teaching right now. But you can be in one of those camps. You can be scared or you can be savvy. You can figure out how you're going to position yourself, learn what you can learn, but that you can share, and even put a plan in place to start monetizing everything you know, everything you've experienced, and everything you've done. All right. So let's jump in. First of all, there's that problem. Take a look around in your industry at all the problems that have surfaced, right? If I just start thinking about restaurants right now, to me, if I were the owner of a restaurant, the thought of actually doing drive-through or delivery would have already come into my head, because I'm always thinking, what if stuff happens? What if stuff goes down? What's going to happen? But I'm amazed at the number of industries and the number of businesses that didn't think that something was ever going to happen, right? That something was ever going to happen to kind of maybe put their business back on its heels. So the first thing I'll say is that there are lots of problems to be solved. Lots of problems to be solved right now. You're either scared in some cases or you're going to be savvy, right? Nothing wrong with being having your precautions and taking care. I'm inside, not gathering, I'm doing all that, but I'm also going to use this time to prepare for winter, right? I'm also going to use this time to make sure that I'm positioning my companies to be even better when we come out of this, because this too shall pass. We know that this will be over, just like we got over Ebola, just like 9/11 happened. These are tragedies. These are atrocities that happened in the world. Life is going to happen, but what are you going to do to be prepared and positioned for those happenings? What are you going to do to be prepared and positioned for when winter comes? All right. So let's talk about the problems in the world, the problems that you can solve, right? If we just make a list to identify what the problems are. Well, people can't get food. People can't work out. People, right, are not getting together in church or in sports. So we can make a list of 100 problems here in like 20 seconds, because we all have become acutely aware of what the problems are, just based on the fact that our circumstances, that we can't, for the most part, leave home, can't go to work, can't do all the things that we love to do. So the problems are easy to define. But the next thing you have to decide for yourself is, what are the things that I can do that I can possibly monetize? And the way I typically take folks through that is to ask them to make a list of 3 things. The things you have, the things you know, so the things you have knowledge of. Okay, let's make a list of those things. The things you know, the things you've done. Okay, the things you've done. And then the things that you've experienced. Okay, so 3 things. The things you know, that's knowledge, that's expertise. The things you've done, those are activities, those are, okay, we'll talk about examples of each of those. And then the things that you've experienced. Okay, so the things I know, if I make a list of the things I know if I don't think about it, and I have no list of this anywhere, so I'm going off the top of my dome. The things I know how to write books. I know how to play basketball. I know how to speak to thousands. I know how to make money within 24 hours. I know how to cook spaghetti. I know how to whiff at a golf ball. I know how to play golf badly. I know how to sing a little. I can keep going on and on of the things I know. Okay. I know these things. I could literally put a checklist for any of those things. Those are the things I know. So what are the things that you have knowledge of? Maybe they're things you went to school for. So that's the first list you make. The next thing, the things you've done. Okay, if I go through the things I've done, these are skills, these are activities. I've played basketball. I've traveled to 30 countries. I've worked in a Fortune 100 company. I've done a Facebook Live. These are things I've done. Okay. So make a list of the things you've done. We've gone from things you know to things you've done. So make your list. The last thing, the things you've experienced. Okay. I've experienced the death of a mother. I've experienced the death of a brother, right? I've experienced playing college basketball. I've experienced starting a company. I've experienced being quarantined, right? I'm literally off the dome. I haven't made a list of any of this. If you just think about those three categories of things, the things you know, the things you've done, the things you've experienced, you've got a big pool of things that you can monetize. Instantly, you've got a big thing, a pool of things that you could possibly monetize. Now, before you start going, oh, well, friend, I got a list of 20 different things. I need some water. Where's my water? Okay, anyway, before you start saying, I got a list of 20 things I can monetize, that's just to get you excited and to get you passionate and to get your mind turning about the things that you could possibly teach, share, or show someone that they would exchange your expertise with money. Okay, before you go there, we also need to know one important thing. We need to know how big of a problem can you match your expertise with a big problem? Can you match what you know, what you've done, what you've experienced with a big problem, right? So said another way, it doesn't matter if I can cook spaghetti if nobody wants to learn how to make spaghetti. You see what I mean? It doesn't matter that I've played basketball if nobody wants to learn how to play basketball. It doesn't matter that I've been a national television personality, that I've worked with ESPN for the past 17 years, if nobody wants to get into sportscast. None of that matters. So it's very important that while you make a list of the things that I got you excited about, what you know, what you've done, what you've experienced, it's also equally important that you're able to match those up with a problem that people have. Otherwise, you don't have a monetization model. You don't have a business. Does that make sense? So you got the problems. Can you match up your experiences, expertise, your know-how with existing problems? If you can do that, then I can pretty much guarantee you that there's something for you to do either during this time or after this time where you can actually make dough for what you know. That's what I call it. Making dough for what you know. Match up your expertise with the problem. That's how you do it. Okay? So now that you know there's a problem out there that you can solve, now that you know that you actually have an area of expertise based on what you know, have done, or experienced, that you can solve that problem. Now it's about figuring out, how big of a problem is it? Is it really a big enough problem that you can actually monetize it, right? Is it big enough that that people would actually pay for it? So the easiest way to figure out if what you know, have done, and experienced can be monetized, what do you think it is? The easiest way to figure that out is to see if anybody else is already doing it. Competition is a great validation for business. So let's say I wanted to start a soda company. Let's say I wanted to start a soda company, right? Some people call it pop. Then all I would have to do is go to a grocery store to see if there's any soda there, to know that business model, that business idea has already been validated. People are drinking soda. Now, if I'm a smart CEO, what I'm also learning is that the trend is that soda is going down. Like, there will probably always be soda, but the grocery store shelves look very different today than they did 20 years ago. So yeah, there's validation that people are drinking soda, but you also, as a CEO, need to understand, is that industry trending up or is it trending down? Now, the whole point is figuring out, is there a marketplace for what you want to sell? And I've seen so many entrepreneurs who've said, oh, well, this is a great idea. They're passionate about it. They're excited about it. Their mom thinks it's a great idea. Their daddy thinks it's a great idea. Their frat thinks it's a great idea. But the marketplace has not demonstrated that they think that there's a problem there. So again, if I wanted to start a beverage company specific for soda, I need validation. I need marketplace validation that that's actually a problem, that somebody's actually going to buy my expertise. So let's say you wanted to help single dads comb their daughter's hair? How do we know that people care about that? How do we know that your target audience actually cares about that? And here's the thing about figuring out problems. There are different levels of problems. There are problems that are, they're kind of painful. And then there are problems that are extremely painful. Let me give you an example. All right. So right now, I don't know if you can see my nails. I kind of need to get my nails done. I kind of need to get my nails done. Okay. That's kind of a problem. But if I had a toothache, that's a different level of a problem. Would you agree? So nails kind of need to be done. Toothache is going to keep me up at night, right? An upset stomach is going to signal that something may be wrong with me. Getting my nails done can wait until the quarantine is lifted. Okay, so you got to be able to distinguish between what is a kind of a yellow alert of a problem and what is a red alert of a problem. So most of us are going to deal with the things that are red alerts. Most of us are going to deal with the toothache before we deal with our nails. So what you have to figure out, does your expertise match up with a red alert problem? A problem that your target audience has that they want to fix, get taken care of, solve right now. Does your audience have a problem that matches up with your expertise that they want to solve right now? And that's it. That's a simplified version of how this works. So you got a problem, you got your expertise, you've identified that this problem is a right now problem. So you need to speak to the people who need your expertise to solve their right now problems. All right. The next thing you need to do is to figure out, also we'll need the glasses for that again. Let's see. Woo, I love these glasses. I never thought I'd say that, but I love these glasses. Now you've got to figure out the best way to actually deliver your solution. And here's the thing about your solution. Here's the thing about you solving that problem. Most people are going to be interested in some people are going to want to gather physically. We can't do that. Some people are going to want to do what I'm doing right now, is to be live on video chat. And then some people are going to want to do it on phone or whatever. What you have to figure out is, if I have this audience that is ready for me to solve this right now problem, what's the best way to deliver this solution? What is the best way for me to deliver this solution? And I will tell you right now, if you haven't thought about doing anything online, hopefully this quarantine that we're in is helping you to understand why it absolutely has to be a part of whatever you're doing going forward in your business. If you've never started a business, if you have a business, there has to be an online component. If you haven't started a business, you definitely need to lead with what's happening online. When I was doing my first Black Millionaire Summit in Dallas about 12 or 13 years ago, I stood on stage and I posed to the audience. I said, let me ask you this question. And this is the same question I'm asking y'all right now. This is 2008, 2007. I said, if you were limited to Wi-Fi and a computer and your brain, you couldn't leave your house, you couldn't go to your job, you couldn't physically be with whoever your customers are. Could you maintain, sustain, grow, explode your income, your financial situation by simply leveraging your brain, Wi-Fi, and a computer? There was an audience of about 300 plus. And I think maybe one person raised their hand besides me. Because already I was thinking, everybody in this room that's running a business, there's one common factor to it. And it's the same thing with you guys listening to me now. There's probably one common factor, and it's probably you. Your business needs you to survive. And while that may be exciting for some of you, that's also a disaster waiting to happen. If your business cannot run, sustain, grow, scale, explode without you, you just have a high-paying job. You have a high-paying job that you run. In 2008, I stood there and asked that, if you were not in the equation of your company, could your business last? And then the second part of that was, could you grow your business? Could you maintain your current revenue income stream if you just had a computer, Wi-Fi, and your brain. We are there, people. That is where we are today. We are there today. Some of you have lost jobs. Some of you will lose jobs. Some of you will be downsized. Some of you will be, those are the realities. Those are our realities. And it should not take coronavirus for everybody to wake up and to understand that if you don't have a sustainable side hustle in place, or that you're running your company in a very different way, given the fact that you may not be able to physically be in the space to run your company. If you have not thought about that, if you hadn't thought about that before this crisis, I hope you will never, ever, 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 ever not put things in place or kind of put your company together such that it is in the hands of some crisis that none of us can control. So let me repeat that. Can your business, what you have in your bank account right now, what you would have in your bank account right now if this interruption, this disruption were not happening, can you sustain or grow that if you only have your brain, Wi-Fi, and a computer? If you never got to leave home again, could you make a living? Because that's where we are. And what I'm sharing with you today is the simple formula. It's easy, it's simple, but not necessarily easy, especially if you've been thinking a certain way about how you're going to make your living. If making your living has always depended on you having a job, then I'm sure this time is kind of scary for you. But if you are open and willing to look at the fact that you know something about something that you can teach, share, show someone that can help you bring in an extra $1,000, $10,000, $100,000 a month. Like, those are not crazy numbers. Those are not crazy numbers. But if you've never thought that way, if you've never thought that you have a gift and a talent and knowledge and expertise right now that you can be sharing with people, then I'm sure it is scary for you to think about what's going to happen after the quarantine is lifted and companies are literally shutting down. And there are some of us who nothing has really changed in our lives, not because we have any special gifts or talents necessarily, but because we've thought about this in a different way. We've planned and positioned, prepared. The last thing you want to do is to be dependent on a government, be dependent on a company to take care of you, because that's not going to happen. The company is going to take care of the company. As we've seen, people have been laid off, people have been fired, people have been downsized because the company didn't put a plan in place to make sure that it could weather these kinds of times. So I'm going to recap what I shared with you today because it is the golden goose. And that is very simply, you have something to offer the world. But you have to know how to monetize what you know. You have to be able to monetize what you've done. And you have to be able to monetize what you've experienced. And there are many ways that you can do that. Again, what you need to do is identify what the problems are, match up your talent, skills, know-how with those big problems, and then figure out a way to deliver those solutions that you have for those problems, ideally in a virtual environment like I'm doing right now. There are lots of ways that you can do that. Live streams, Facebook Lives, email coaching, lots of different avenues for you to take to be able to do that. But I hope you don't leave this, this live stream today without at least being inspired to make a list of all the things you've done and you've experienced, and start to think of some ways that you can actually monetize those, not just during this time, but forever. This is a sustainable model. As I shared with you some of my experiences doing my fantasy camps, doing online coaching, online summits, I've done this for the past 20 years. So this is not a new thing. Now, if it's new to you, there are tons more resources out there right now that you can tap into to show you how to do that. But at minimum, I hope that you will start to entertain the fact that you have something that people need, that the world needs what you have. And more importantly, that you can exchange that gift and that talent for an amazing, amazing income. And if you decide to build a business, an amazing business. All right. So that's going to do it for me today. Just want to share that with you. Bless you with that. And put some glasses on, see if somebody got any questions. All I see are people popping in. Andre, thank you. Inspired indeed. Review this video. Good job. Jeanette Hill, good to see you again. Ray Jackson, good to see you, my brother. Lynetta, Sock in the house. Yeah, so check it out. Make sure you are thinking about all the things that you have to give the world that you're just sitting on. And then just go for it. Just go for it. If you are interested in me showing you how to do that, you can go to my website, franharris.com /apply. And if there's a good fit, we'll chat about how I can show you how to make dough for what you know. But it really is pretty simple, you guys. Figure out what you can offer the world, match it up with a problem that's out there, and then figure out how you're going to deliver it. All right? If you're interested in working with me, you can go to franharris.com /apply. franharris.com /apply. Have a great Sunday, everybody, and we will see you in the next live. Take care.